Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stos. So how did you do last week? Ooh, you're going, what was last week? What was I supposed to be focusing on? Remember, it was the word simplicity. After a busy end of the year and the holidays, and as you start the new year, we're really focusing on that time. And what can you do in your day to keep it simple, right? How can we have a simple life? Remember what we talked about? What really matters. Focus on what matters and eliminate the rest. So when you looked at your schedule, what did you get rid of? What could you eliminate so you were feeling less stressed and less overwhelmed? And I myself went through that same thing as I wanted to do this fun activity for Christmas. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's really fun. And I went to the craft store starting to get everything. And I stopped. In the midst of putting everything in my cart, I thought, do we really need to do this? I could find lots of ways to have a lot of fun without all this excess money I was spending, this excess stuff that I needed to take to my sister's house to do all these activities, when really, what was the purpose? So I had to stop and say, you know what? I can have so much fun with my nieces and nephews in another way that maybe is a little less complicated. So that was an example of what I did when I thought about my simplicity this week. So when we continue thinking about our schedule, I want you to think about your day and say, what is one thing that I don't have to do today? What's one thing that I can take out of my schedule that I have control over? And you might think I need to do everything. Well, you know what? There's one thing that you probably don't have to do. Or there's a decision that you can make that, do I need to do this? What's the reason for it? So I really want you to think about that simplicity in your life. So let's go back and think about, maybe we remove some things out of our day. And maybe we're still feeling drained and depleted. If you just look in your mind and picture a bucket. And you look at a bucket and you think about, is my bucket full or is my bucket empty? Am I depleted? Because when we're overscheduled and we're exhausted and we're not focusing on simplicity, we have a depleted bucket. So I want you to think about right now, where is your bucket? As we focus on 2014, if your bucket's empty, if your bucket's at the bottom and depleted, how can we fill that bucket? What will fill your soul? Is it saying yes to one more activity or one more commitment or one more thing to overschedule you? What will say yes to you? What will say yes to fill that bucket? And think about what that means to you and how that can fill you up. Because when we're exhausted, we just get really depleted and we're not really at our best. Part of our depletion of ourselves may occur because of impression management. You might say, impression management, what is that? How much time are you focusing on impressing other people? How much time are you caught up in worrying what other people think? Are you trying to impress someone? You know, that is a waste of time. That is one thing we can probably take out of our day to think about how we can get energized and not worrying about what everybody thinks. But we spend so much time on that. So think about how you're focusing on that, and maybe that can help you increase that bucket filling. And then the next thing is at our work. Think about your job. We spend 75% of our life at work. Is your work energizing or is it depleting you? What in your day at work depletes you? Because if we spend that much time at work and you come home and that bucket is empty, sometimes we do have to find things to fill it. And we do say yes to some things because when we spend that much time at work, we need to find something to fill it up. But if you're spending that much time being depleted, it's time to stop and think about that. Think about, what can I do differently? Is there something else that I can apply for at work? Is there conversations that I could have with my manager? Or do I really need to go somewhere else? If it's depleting our bucket, we need to really take control of what that means to us. So let's think about how we can get that bucket filled. So we've kind of talked about making our schedule more simple, saying no to some things, impression management, getting rid of that. 3, thinking about our job. But think about the things that you can maybe do to replenish yourself this year. Think about the things that might be exercise. Of course, everybody's always looking to get a little fit in the first of the year. It might be eating right. It might be meditating. It might be reading. It might be just taking time to ourselves in silence. Whatever that may be, think about what you need. It might be just playing a game with your kids or doing a puzzle. Something simple. So let's go back to the basics and focus on simplicity. Let's ask yourself today, what can I take out of my schedule? What doesn't matter today? What do I have control over? For a positive charge this week, first think about your bucket. How full is your bucket, or how empty is your bucket? That's a great place to start. Then decide, what do I need to do to change that? Is it impression management? Am I caught up in that? Is it my job? Or is it my day-to-day decisions I make around my schedule? Those are some things that are important for you to evaluate with positive charge this week. Every day we have distractions. Every day we have technology around us pulling us and distracting us from what's important. So we really have to think about why you want to do these things. These things are really, really important to us. Time will pass by and then we'll stop and say, what happened? Where did that time go? And my life was too complicated. So take some time today and think about this, to get yourself some discipline, figure out your why, and make your life more simple. Thank you for joining us today, and remember to get your mind out.